Hey, Math Ninjas, multiplying rational numbers, part one. We're looking at decimals, multiplying decimals. So we've got 5 and 9/10 multiplied by a negative 9 and 7/10. You can show different ways of showing multiplication, but this is sort of the most common one you're going to use as you progress in mathematics with parentheses times parentheses. Okay, also, in your primary grades, you've done a lot with multiplying digits of tenths, hundredths, thousandths, and making sure that the place values line up. That's exceptionally important, right? But the skill that I want to work with here is, as we're using rational numbers and positives and negatives and stuff, the thing that I want to emphasize as our skill is the importance of estimating. A symbol for showing estimation is kind of similar to an equal sign, but it's squiggly, right? That means estimated, about. So our 5 and 9/10 rounds up to what? Thank you. And our negative 9 and 7/10 rounds to about what? Technically down to a negative 10. And then here, we see values that we can work with that we know we're going to get an idea of what our product is going to be. 6 times a negative 10, a positive times a negative is in multiplication is always going to be what? Negative. So 6 times a negative 10 would be a negative 60. So we know our answer is approximately going to be that. At this point, I'm okay with you doing it in paper and pencil or by using the calculator to multiply 5 and 9/10 times a negative 9 and 7/10. And so our exact answer, positive times a negative, is going to be a negative 57 and 23. What? Tell me the place value of the 3. A negative 57 and 23 hundredths. All right, let's look at one more example. Okay, for this one, we're going to multiply 3 values, 3 decimal values. We're going to multiply 4 and a tenth times a negative 7 and 2/10 times 1 and 98 hundredths. Okay? So there's multiple place values here, 3 numbers. If this was all about doing it with paper and pencil and lining up place values, you guys could do it. It would take time. The skill that I am emphasizing is the importance of estimating. 4 and a tenth, 4 times a negative what? 7. Put my squiggly estimate sign. 1 and 98 hundredths. Let's make that much more simple. At 2. Squiggly. Hey, remember the commutative, commute to move, property of multiplication means we can multiply in any order. We could do 4 times 2 times a negative 7 or whatever. I am just going to do it straight across. The numbers look easy enough. So 4 times a negative 7 is going to be a negative 28, positive times a negative, and then times our 2. So our final answer is going to be about negative 56, because it's a negative times a positive. Okay, and then we would go back up. We would check our 4 and 1/10 times a negative 7 and 2/10 times 1 and 98 hundredths is equal to, so we have a positive times a negative is a negative, and then the negative times a positive. So it's going to be equal to a negative 58 and 4,496 ten thousandths. For 4,496, the place value here, tens, hundreds, thousandths, tens, thousandths. Okay? There we go. Multiplying rational numbers, part 1.